Good afternoon, my supervisor, Mr. Agusriadi, as well as the honorable examiners, Mr. Bayaningsi and Mr. Yusufat Purna Valentino. My name is Brian Audielin, and today I'm here to present to you the report for my final project entitled The Translation of Read This If You Want to Take Great Photographs from English to Indonesian. Let us begin. The background of the report. Polytechnic Ecuador introduced a new program where final semester students can either compose a thesis or engage in one of the four designated projects, one of them being a translation project. The student translator has a 970 on the TOEIC test, part of the ISOFOR program in the UK back last year. It's consistently earned in vocabulary, writing, and grammar. I have to help his peers with translations in the past. Now, the user translator has chosen the book Read This Do You Want to Take Group Photographs by Henry Carroll. And he has translated the book from English to Bahasa Indonesia. The book covers five fundamental subjects in photography, which are composition, exposure, light, lens, and seeing. The student translator believes that the book is beneficial to both amateur photographers and general readers, as the book explains the basics of photography in an easy to understand way, with many examples and pictures. It is a great resource for beginners and experts alike. The tips which are in the book are also applicable to both DSLR and mobile photography. The summary of the book. Read This If You Want to Take Great Photographs is written by Henry Carroll, a UK-based author and photographer. It is a very beginner-friendly photography guidebook, which covers five basic fundamentals in photography. There are composition, exposure, light, lens, and seeing. Now, the author has also delved deeper into each subject by going over the little details that make up things like composition. There are foreground interest and symmetry, exposure. He talks about ISO, aperture, as well as shutter speeds, which many considers the three pillars of photography to create the perfect exposure. There are in-depth explanations of each point and many visual examples from previous photographers of different eras. Now, this book not only does it encourage photographers to understand and apply these 5 points, it also simultaneously empowers them to break these rules when necessary. Uh, During the process of translating the book, the student translator has found several different challenges, which proves to present a difficulty. Some of the challenges are the lexical challenges, which refers to the complexity a translator might face when translating words or terms between different languages. Now, some of the challenges are exposure, depth of field, aperture, and bottom. The next challenge would be cultural challenges, which refers to the difference of worldview which are reflected in the language. The student translator has found these challenges to be bish, bash, bosh. It's okay to pee in public, as well as keep your eyes peeled. In order to combat these challenges, the student translator has employed several different translation techniques and methods in combating these challenges. The first one being equivalence, which refers to finding the most suitable equivalent or closest approximation of meaning in the target language while considering linguistic, cultural, and contextual factors. The first example of where the strategy is used is for the word exposure. The student translator has decided on paparan as the most suitable translation result. Um, According to the KBBI, exposure, if we were to translate exposure using the naturalized borrowing, which is exposure, it would lean towards advertisement, meaning the exposure of this advertisement is very good in a way. Whereas paparan, if we were to look it up in KBBI, it it is better, it is a better usage for the exposure in Indonesia. Uh, The next example is depth of field. The student translator has decided on the term ruang tajam as the most correct term, correct translation in Indonesian. Based on his research and also comparison between other previous Indonesian books, many authors and photographers have used ruang tajam instead of kedalaman bidang to describe depth of field in their books. And then there are also keep your eyes peeled. Keep your eyes peeled. The student translator believe that tetap memperhatikan is the best translation for this phrase. Even though keep eyes peeled, they're also and tetap fokus in a way, tetap waspada. But in this context, tetap memperhatikan is more suitable in translating the phrase. The next strategy is adaptation, modifying cultural references, idiomatic expressions, or other elements to ensure cultural relevance and comprehensibility into target language and culture. Now, these are two examples of where the adaptation strategy was used. For the bottom in Indonesia would mean many things. There's the lower half body, bagian bawah, kaki, and bokong. Uh, why the student translator has chosen bokong as the appropriate term for the bottom is based on his research of Guy Bourdain's previous work. The use of the word bottom in the book is used to describe Guy Bourdain's photo, where the text says Guy Bourdain loves a good bottom. By comparing this word and the picture presented by the author and his research, Guy Bourdain is known for his work in photographing areas of the lower region, and many of his work does include the bottom part or the bokong of the subject. Hence, why the student translator has chosen the bokong as the correct translation. Now, bis bash bosh refers to bis bash bosh is an expression refers to something being done in a quick and efficient way. It is to be mentioned. It is noted that in the book, bish bash bosh is used by the author individually, and individually, each of these words have no meaning. It is used to describe something, the guide to doing something fast and efficient, which is why the student translator has chosen cepat dan tepat as the correct translation. And then the next strategy is naturalize borrowing. It involves replacing the source text element with a natural expression in target language rather than directly translating it. Now, aperture, in if we were to look up aperture in KBBI or different um, dictionaries, aperture has a few different translations in Indonesian. There are bukaan, diaphragma, and aperture. Now, why the student translator has chosen to keep the word aperture is because globally, aperture is more well known for the readers or maybe photographers. That's why, in order to keep that familiarity, the student translator has chosen to keep the word aperture in his translation. And then there's also literal translation, translating the source text word for word without significant changes to the structure or form. The example is it's okay to pee in public. The intended use of the it's okay to pee in public by the author is to lighten the mood in a way. It's used to as a joke, and now it is impossible and to translate it in Indonesian. That is why and the P itself refers to a setting in the camera. That's why the student translator chosen to keep it as it is, which is why word for word doesn't even changes to the structure or form. Tidak masalah untuk P di tempat umum. As a conclusion, the chosen techniques, many of the chosen were based on their suitability and effectiveness in achieving the optimal translation outcome. And based on these translators' research and reading and such, he believed that these techniques were the best and the most suitable in achieving the correct translation outcome. And now he knows that the final result may not fully replicate the source book perfectly. That's why prospective translators should review prior translated work and allocate more time for revision and refinement. There should be extra attention given to intricate details, lucidity, coherence, and linguistic and stylistic excellence. There are also that requires multiple rounds of scrutiny to help identify potential errors and areas for improvement. And student translator believes that collaboration with an esteemed Indian photographer can aid in determining suitable translations for terms used in the book. That is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.